Welcome to Tea Time with Angels, the official podcast of the Peaceful Rain Temple of Empowerment. If you're a curious mind, you're in the right place. We aren't afraid to dig deep into the mysteries of life and try to make sense of the strange things. I'm your host, Troy J. Bacon. I'm a minister of angel healing and a master level in 3 schools of Reiki. I'm the founder of the Peaceful Rain Temple of Empowerment, a non-dogmatic spiritual fellowship that is dedicated to assisting those who are on the spiritual path to embody their higher self, their divine essence, throughout the rest of their days in a mortal body. You can find more about Peaceful Rain at peacefulrain.com, as well as visit our school, which is linked up at peacefulrain.com. The school group is the online portion, where I'm currently teaching and giving free services as well as paid membership services. So that is SKOOL, and you can search Peaceful Rain Temple on there, as well as linked up at peacefulrain.com and in the description of this podcast. So let's get into today's discussion, where we are joined again with Amanda the Astral Analyst, as I have dubbed her. Today's discussion will be about Mallworld, a follow-up on our first dive into Mallworld, and especially Amanda has been compiling more of her notes and drawings that will be featured here about Mallworld, some specific scenes. I have also realized that I've visited some places in Mallworld or the Dream World, and so I'll be describing some of that and what that looks like, but also my analysis, more like a parapsychological analysis from my expertise of the reasons why that happened for me, and some of the reasons why I believe this Mallworld or Dream World phenomena is happening with other people, why they're visiting the same places no matter where they are in the world, ethnicity, background, religious beliefs, and all that. So, Amanda, I'll let you have the floor, and let's talk about Mallworld and the new scenes that you have going on.
Well, I guess the new scenes I'm working on is I did a more thorough of the cave, but I'm also like kind of focusing now on the neighborhood and the houses, like the different beach houses, the different townhouses around the pond. There's a ditch with these stones. I mean, there's different houses I go into that I've seen other people talk about going into. So I'm going to start branching out and doing a more broader part. And I'm also, I have to look up that maybe the back rooms, or if the back rooms that people are talking about is the same thing that I'm thinking of, because I'm not sure, but I feel like it's one part of the mall world. So I'm trying to like figure out how I'm seeing what I figured is the back rooms, and kind of connecting the dots and how that might map out. But yeah, that's just I mean, I remember a lot, so I'm still working through drawing it all out, and I'd love to like almost, it'll probably get like 200 drawings. I'm up to 150 right now, so, cause I just remember a lot, and, I figured I just gonna put it all down for people. So that's just where I'm at right now with it. And I just want to help people, hopefully, like, help them piece it together, or, maybe it might inspire something for them to remember, because the more people that work together on this, the better it can be. So.
Yeah, that's what we're all about, is supporting everyone on this kind of mysterious and sometimes enigmatic spiritual journey. So, Amanda, I want to clarify something. Were you talking about the back rooms or bathrooms?
The back rooms. That's what I'm confused about right now, because I read it there, like the back rooms in Mallworld is different. So I would have to like actually like do a little bit more into that to see what they're calling the back rooms, because I actually thought what they're describing as the back rooms is part of the Mallworld, because I have a part where in the theater, the movie theater, you go down this like, hallway, this dark, whatever hallway. And then you have the theater that could be the auditorium. has all these people that you know in there, and it's chaotic, or it could be the movie theater. But to the like, I guess you could say if you're facing that, to the left of that is like this door in the hallway, and that leads to like this apartment, and that apartment will lead to this huge grocery like freezer storage. It's massive. Like you would think like it was like pretty much storage for like a huge grocery link, you know? And then after that, there's this plant warehouse, and then it will exit out. So I had talked about that, and people had said, well, that looks like the Backrooms. And I'm like, yeah, I thought it was the same thing, but apparently there's this debate that it's different. So I'm not exactly sure what people are referring to, but so far I feel like it might be connected as a whole, but I'm not, you know, I would have to actually make sure that like what they're talking about is the same thing. So, but
Yeah,
this whole thing is everyone's dreaming of these places, and it's really just beyond weird because I have good pattern recognition. So the fact that like people are saying like I pick up the same quarters in the same spot in the arcade next to the same game, that's really, you know, a coincidence is happens twice. Three times is a pattern.
yeah. Yeah, I'd be curious to also dig into and learn more about like what the distinction is. What like it's still in the in our dream time that a lot
Yeah.
of us are visiting these places, but why we have to separate the back rooms from these other rooms and spaces in Mall World or this dream
Does
world.
Backrooms recognize it as a recurring dream by chance? I don't know that. I'm really not
Yeah,
sure where it stems from. Did it stem from reoccurring dreams like Mall World, or did it stem from something else? I'm not really sure. That's why I need to like when I get a chance, I want to do more thorough research into it to see if it's like, you know.
yeah. Let's continue this conversation and these studies because I believe that some of the specific places, like very real, solid places I've visited in dreams, but when I've had
Mm-hmm.
lucid dreams, it just feels so solid and tangible. Like I wouldn't describe some of the places as mall world. I remember being in a hospital when I went lucid once, and the two nurses there that I found in a hallway were literally just like uh, uneducated, just completely useless data programs. I didn't know what was where, how to help me get out of there.
Yeah.
Um, so
Well, let me
yeah,
ask you, there's
it's
two. I've seen two hospitals. Have you, is it the one where like you might see a highway that is like on the highway almost, or you'll see a highway in the window? Because I've actually had like two different parts of the hospital where like I've had to leave one and go to the other for whatever reason.
yeah. I don't remember if I saw out of a window or a highway. I just remember in the hospital. It was I think at least a third floor. I remember going up in an elevator in the hospital, getting out of the elevator. Right now, I don't remember exactly what I was doing before the elevator, but I was in this hospital. I went up the elevator. It was it felt like at least a third floor, maybe higher. But one of those hallways, hospital hallways, where it's just like hallway on either side and
That's
just
spooky
rooms and
abandoned.
well, I don't remember if there were other people in the rooms, but it was just like rooms and rooms, patient rooms, all the way down the hallway, and then so I couldn't find my way out. I was trying to find my way out of the hospital, but then I found these useless nurse programs, NPCs.
And yeah, they don't really respond in a like a way that's yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, the hospital, like, I know I don't spend too. I go in the waiting room. I know part of it turns into the school, but I also know like I have like I'll go to like the triage and they'll send me this other one, but there is a part where like the movie theater, that arcade, or like, after you go down the little hallways of arcade and not the back rooms, but on the other side of the theater, there is a hallway that turns into the hospital. And it's if you go from like the movie theater hallway to like the hospital, but you're going through like this kind of maze. For me, it's like you go through this maze and it's just a lot of like the empty rooms, but some, and like this empty desk, like it's almost being semi abandoned, like semi part of a hospital that would be closed for renovation, but not exactly the same. Because sometimes there will be people and patients there. Sometimes there will be staff that looks at you funny, but usually, like, if I keep going, I'll end up in this like huge circular playroom of sorts, like a rich kid's room in a mansion. I mean, this playroom has everything. Like, because I'm always in the kitchen section, because like the fridge, the pretend fridge has all the little food in it. Like, if you were a kid and you remember you wanted that stuff, everybody had that stuff. It just has everything you could think of. And I know I go in there a lot, and I'm always just kind of going in a circle looking at that stuff. And that's kind of a hard place. And I feel like that might be connected to the mansion, but I can't say for sure, because it is hard to navigate how you can switch up in places at certain times.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I guess where I'm coming from a parapsychology and hypnotherapy and more philosophical background is not only talking about and digging into these Mallworld scenes and phenomena, but understanding them through that lens of sort of a Jungian dream analysis approach of why this is happening, what each dream, what each scene might represent. And for me, it's kind of a curiosity as the hospital and other buildings and places have gone lucid in these dreams, and sort of what that means. Going lucid, like, it's kind of an interesting dichotomy, I guess I'd describe why this is happening, because for me, the specific places I have been and also returned to in different dreams definitely have noticed they correspond to states of consciousness that I've been in cycles throughout my life, waking life. And then when I change my internal patterns, start meditating more daily and be more conscious about my life, then some of these dreams stop or change. Yeah. Yeah. And so then it's interesting to think about the I guess consciousness juxtaposition or dichotomy of when you're just going through these dreams and it's so real, so physical, but you're just sort of going through them, either with whatever the meaning is between needing to get out of somewhere, or for me, it's been the intersection where I'm driving and just can't stop moving forward. Sometimes the brakes don't work and I just speed through intersections, train tracks, and other pieces of city intersections. But then it's those basically to me would represent being out of control or not being able to control or understand your situation. Whereas it's, I think, a different thing where you go lucid. And
so it's not like so much of a symbolic dream versus something that you're actually experiencing on a different level or dimension, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, it's interesting because to me, it feels like kind of the same place, the same matrix, but then these different models of engaging with it, whether you're just unconscious or you're lucid. So that's where I'm at thinking about that. I could talk more about what I think of, especially my analysis of the city intersection experience too.
Yeah, I mean, the city, like, you ever feel like you're kind of in a rush when when you're in the car or someone's driving, or you ever have like, you're on the bus, or like you're trying to, like, because I know when I'm in the car, like, in small world, it's like we're trying to get away from these natural disasters for the most part, because I can see the tornadoes or whatever, the tsunamis in the background coming, and we're driving away from it. But sometimes I could be on the bus doing that too. And, it just feels more urgent unless I'm like on that loopy road and then you just fly off of it and like you're literally floating in the air until like you just somehow land. So, and other people have that experience too. So I think it's very odd because the thing is, I have these dreams and it really doesn't matter how psychic you are when it comes to something that personal, like hits home that you're actually kind of involved in. It's a lot harder to kind of be objective and be reading to what you're seeing. So in my experience, for me personally, I have a hard time reading into like my own experiences because I'm so involved in it that it's hard to have that objective view where if you're like channeling or you want to do whatever, you have to like kind of like not have anything with you involved. Like you have to put you aside, right? And come in like with a clean slate. So it is harder for me, like when I'm involved in something, for me to actually read into it. It actually makes it more challenging. So I have to reach out to my friends who are also psychic mediums, like, hey, I need your help with this because I'm too close to see it. I don't think I'm seeing it objectively. I think it's distorted by my own experiences. So it,
Yeah.
it's really difficult in Mallworld because I mean, I don't really know exactly how to explain it, but at the same time, I don't really want my own stuff to bleed into my perceptions and give off like an inaccurate thing that's going on. You know, because I try to be cautious of that because I do understand the dynamic of it.
Yeah. I guess I have a question about that, but a little thing, I guess from my history and training, like I was saying in Jungian dream analysis, is back when I was in college, I took some consciousness studies classes, and so that's where I got introduced to this and this dream analysis approach. And Carl Jung came up with this, like, you could do it in groups or also on your own. But this question that helps to analyze your dreams, I know it's not easy for everyone who's not experienced in this, but you can do this with your dream journal, or friends or dream group too, if you find one or start one.
Everyone starts with it.
But the question is, if this were my dream, what would this mean to me? Or what does this mean to me? What do these characters, what do these colors, symbols, places, experiences, feelings in this dream mean to me? And it's that type of guiding question that then that's basically the prompt in your journal about each dream, where you can start answering what that means to you, every morning, perhaps, if you're dream journaling every morning, whenever you remember your dreams. And by remembering your dreams and journaling about your dreams, that does build the neural synapses for dream memory. That's been my experience. Otherwise, if you're not journaling about your dreams or even talking about them, then you're just not going to have great dream memory if you don't already have great dream memory. So
that makes perfect sense to me, actually. That I feel like that's what I did.
yeah,
Because because the psychic stuff started when I was like 16, 17 with dreams that told me specific details of things that were going on. But the thing is, after I had that first dream that ended up being true, I did kind of obsess on it. Like that was really weird. And I fully like got committed to writing down my dreams, focusing on them, paying attention, and like ADHD hyper focused on them. Right. And, I used to say, like, I feel like my dreams started everything and that me focusing on them did kickstart a lot of the abilities that came after. Like, I did use, like, I feel like, I don't know if I'm right now. I feel like as I got older, I'm not really, I have a different theory. But back then, I really did say, hey, it's your dreams that take, I used to think that you have to match your dreams to get psychic. Like, I used to think that was the way, like, when I was younger. I'm like, that's how I did it, so that's how everybody has to do it, right?
yeah. So Amanda, I'd like to ask you, do you feel that your dreams have often been like a reflection? They reflect to you what's happening for like analysis, or also there's some psychic elements too, precognitive in my dreams.
Symbolically, yeah, they have. Like, I definitely see a lot of like my own issues, ego, traumas, and things like that have manifested in my dreams. But those
Yeah,
dreams are different from like the mall world dreams that we occurring, and they're different from like the lucid dreaming. It's kind of like it's a slightly different dynamic with these things. You know what I mean? That like to lump it all together is hard because it is weird. I think I stopped putting so much stock in my dreams because other abilities came after them that they kind of got lost in the cracks. Like they weren't like maybe I didn't realize that they were more significant because I'm like, oh, bigger stuff is happening. Like I'm focused on this, right? So, but now that I'm thinking back on it, I'm like, well, maybe I should have been paying attention a little bit more to this stuff. Right? I'm not sure because, it's odd. I'm learning more, like doing this Mallworld project has actually taught me some things. I'm learning more from it.
so continuing on this line of sort of what Mallworld means, what these dreams mean for each of us and the collective. Um, comparing some of your experiences and correlating them also with comments and descriptions you've seen on social media sites and the internet, have you noticed a commonality between like lifestyles or things Mallworld dreamers are doing in life, and maybe a common thread of Mallworld dreams, or if there is one that you've noticed?
The only common thread I've seen is people that were in the GATE program talk about it, or like neurodivergence, and there are people like me who weren't in the GATE program, right? So I have noticed that, but I can't say for sure because you never know. Like the more people it can reach, this could change. This dynamic can change, right? So I'm not really sure what's going on with it because I do personally feel that like everybody has the capability to tap into these different abilities or dimensions of like spirituality where they can go into their dreams. They can actually learn how to channel. Like, I know they can. They just, it's just a matter of do you believe you can? Because you're not going to do something if you don't believe you can do it. Like, I mean, that's just neuroplasticity, right? But at the same time, I feel like a part of it might be from the fact that the lights are kind of coming on for people. Like there is something going on where people are kind of like being more aware, or their eyes are opening, or they're starting to recognize things, or maybe things are starting to like jump out. I'm not really sure how to explain it properly, but I have seen this dynamic, and not just in people. I've seen it in animals. I don't know if you noticed, but animals are becoming a little more conscious lately. Have you seen that? But maybe I'm tripping. Anyway, the thing is, yeah, I mean, so it's complicated because I feel like people are exploring a whole new dimension of life that they are starting to realize they are privy to. They have access to, you know what I mean? But as far as like a certain type of people that are dreaming of this, I'm just gonna say like maybe some people are a little more sensitive, a little more open to these things. It's not that anybody is not capable of tapping into these things, but are you willing? Are you actually willing to do it? Because that is part of it. A part of you does have to have that in you. You know what I mean? Because you can't close it off. I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen it. I can't close it off, but I've seen people do it, so I don't know.
So just quickly, I want to clarify what the GATE program is. I know we touched on this or mentioned that in the last episode. And
yeah, GATE, gifted and talented education for like gifted kids back like in the 90s, which I didn't get into because I got bad grades, right? But I was diagnosed ADHD. I got the medication, but it was like the gifted program. But if you look back into it, it is kind of sketchy. If you look about the funders and how it started, I mean, I went back to this term, it was IQ. And it wasn't just the GATE kids, but see, the pattern I saw was not just the GATE kids, but also the neurodivergent. They were looking, they call the neurodivergent like a 2 times exceptional, like if they're high functioning or whatever they classify, it's different, I guess. They were looking into pattern recognition and certain things like that, right? And it is kind of like, it does seem like they were looking into like psychic abilities because remote viewing is kind of another dimension of good pattern recognition in a sense. Good pattern recognition does help with clairvoyance or remote viewing, right? But this stuff is connected to the subconscious mind. You have to connect spirituality with the science and the physical, so you want the best blend. But I did notice that, and some of the tests they do, they've talked about. I dreamt about those tests, and like it does seem like to me, it seems like they were trying to look for psychic gifts. And the more research I looked back into China, and it's so much error during like the 80s when it had an increase in psychic kids coming. So this psychic kids increase in people being born in families has actually been around the world. And from what I can see, America did kind of find out about it from other countries that were taking, I guess, proactive steps to like support this or whatever. And that's the pattern I see, to be honest. And I also know, like in the Epstein files, Epstein funded the pilot study for the telepathy that led to the telepathy tapes documentary. So he was all in it with the autistic kids and their telepathy and how they go in the field. And that makes me nervous. That's sketchy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, get away from me, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Like, it's like, that is upsetting. It's kind of like what led to Mallworld is I looked into the G.A.T.E kids, the telepathy tapes, and what they were looking into with these kids. And then I just stumbled onto Mallworld and it happened to connect. So I'm like, all right, what's going on? That's where I'm at, but I don't have any solid things, just things I'm trying to piece together, but it's real speculative at this point.
Did I hear that Bill Gates and possibly others are funding the G.A.T.E program?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they fund that. Yes, they
Yeah,
do.
yeah, I'm
And they're
not.
all big on eugenics.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of not surprised, but my knowledge and exposure initially to the G.A.T.E program, it, I don't have any reason or memory to believe that I was in it. There are no signs from my life or things going on with me that would indicate that I. But I did I did learn of the G.A.T.E program 2 or 3 years ago, a while back. They came to me for a regression, memory regression of some things that had happened, and wanted clarity on some of their memories. And then during the session, they ended up talking about the G.A.T.E program as they knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, they told me that they told me that it stood for gifted intelligent education, and that they were essentially taken, I think, on a blacked out school bus with blacked out windows or something like that, numerous times taken to this facility. Their parents, according to them, had signed some sort of waiver or agreement for them to go through this gifted intelligent education program for gifted students, but their parents didn't actually know what it was. And so I I don't know, I can't say exactly where, but it was somewhere in the state of Oregon, this facility.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was one of their
Mm.
facilities. This was
Yeah.
back in the 90s,
It's
I
one of the, is
recall.
it the school you go to when you're doing good in that program?
What was that?
Well, is it like because they have certain schools that they will send after like you go through the G.A.T.E program, there is certain schools or whatever academies, like, like X-Men schools, I would say almost kind of like it has that vibe. I'm not saying that's what they do there, but, yeah, they do. Yeah, it's sketchy. They do send people there, some.
Yeah,
Now, also neurodivergent, some of them like me to be very unpredictable. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. So I know they don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. So like, I feel like those neurodivergents like me, probably just got the Adderall, the medication. You know what I mean? Medicate them because that'll
yeah,
throw us off. And it's sketchy. Like, I honestly don't know how else to say that they were looking for psychic kids. They are absolutely looking for psychic kids. And they were trying to, in my opinion, I think that's where psychic soldiers came from. I really think that they were trying to utilize it. You know what I mean? And, I think it's like, even to go back to Liz Terman, who revived the IQ test that even led to G.A.T.E, right? They're all big on eugenics. Okay. So you have to understand they want this like supreme human being that they think is quality. It's probably not even on the level they're at, but they want something like that and they want to feel part of it, in my opinion. And, you know, so I think like honestly, a lot of this has to do with that. And I do think like a lot of things they study in pattern recognition and things of that nature. I see it in AI. I see in G.A.T.E how it uses pattern recognition, but the same way autistic people math, the first three sentences you write, it knows exactly how to be your personal bestie. And that can almost seem psychic. And good pattern recognition only seems psychic. It can actually just be very convincing. You know what I mean? People that are neurodivergent will use it as a defense mechanism to kind of like, shield them from being any more like ridicule or whatever. But it can be weaponized in this way. And I see it. You know what I mean? So it makes me wonder. Like I said, I only have speculative theories at this point, but it's just the pieces I'm putting together. And I'm like, this doesn't add up. You know what I mean?
yeah, I do. One last thing I can say about the G.A.T E program is that it was very obvious to me the way this client was describing the G.A.T E program is that it was definitely kind of like well, not quite a front program because it's not quite public or like visible to all
Okay,
of
fun.
us. But yeah, it's essentially kind of like a funnel program, I'd say,
Yeah,
to bring these kids, give them an excuse and get them authorized to get removed from a school day,
right.
to go to these academies, these camps for specific exercises and tests. But yeah, it's definitely a program that is like a funnel, to
Yeah.
identify which
What are they
kids
really
are,
looking for?
yeah, are the strongest for psychic warfare, for
Yeah.
secret space program operations and summer programs. And yeah, I could tell that it's definitely a funnel to basically draft very special people for specific
You know, they
like
missed one. I'm out here feral, so jokes on them.
yeah,
You know, and I have no filter. But you're right. I do. I feel like it's a front. They're looking for
yeah.
something, or they're trying to retain something, or even try to use it to their advantage. But I truly feel like no matter what goes on, it's going to back. I feel like, people say how time feels like it's speeding up. Well, that pendulum speeds up too. So it doesn't take long for it to smack you right back in the head. So, you know, I really feel like whatever shenanigans, it's just going to backfire immediately because that's where we're at.
Amanda, what is one of the most fun parts of Mall World and these places you visit?
Oh, I like the beach house. I go to the beach house with the big tsunami coming on the waves. I hang out with those people a lot. That's one of my favorite hot spots. I do like the arcade. I like to get in this one game where the quarters are next to. It's kind of like an old school sit down game. I don't even really remember. I don't think I'm driving. I'm not even remember. I just felt like a sit in one. So I like the arcade. I like the beach house. And I guess I would say like I do like to hang out like sometimes the dirt road by this like shack, but it's just a frame. Uh, and to be honest, part of my subconscious thing is I do kind of go run around looking for the bars, trying to get a drink. They don't really like drink that much anymore, like I used to, but I still have that subconsciously. And there's this rave, right? And a guy is in the rave, sometimes in a gamer chair, which I'm drawing this out now better too. And like I feel like he's the host of the rave, but I'm always going to him like, hey, like to get a pill or something. I'm like, this is so me 20 years ago. Like, but subconsciously, I feel like that's me subconsciously. The things I'm speaking out in the mall world, like what I'm personally looking for, I feel like it's more subconscious. You know what I mean? But a lot of people have similar shared experiences, but I think some of those are kind of more subconscious, like what I'm doing, what I'm looking for, what I'm playing with, what I'm exploring. But I really, honestly, I've missed some parts of it because I liked going to a few parts. I didn't even know that anybody else was doing dreaming in the same places or anything. To me, it was like my own little thing. And but I never put a lot of stock into it or being fearful of it. But if I was still dreaming of it and hearing about everybody else dreaming of it, that might cause a complex. To be honest, like if I had heard about everyone else dreaming of it and these theories coming out now that it's like an actual dungeon or prison or something of that nature, that probably would have caused a complex for me. But that could have manifested in my dreams.
What is the most valuable experience, or what is something valuable that one of the places you've been drawing since we last talked?
As far as like valuable, I'm not really sure because I always look at it as dreaming. And I think I found a lot of comfort in the fact that I knew what to expect when I could have better control of going back there or when I was lucid dreaming. I think it was the comfort of that kind of like knowing what to expect and like that kind of like the control aspect of not like wanting to be surprised. I would say that was probably my biggest draw to it, to be honest, because like I do struggle with change and not knowing what's coming, that's something I'm working on, like letting the mystery happen. So I would say for me personally, my biggest comfort was that I knew what to expect.
Do you do any practices or preparation before Mall World or lucid dreaming?
Not really, to be honest, because I didn't even really like think, I don't always think about these things when I do them, but I just know that like if I got up, if I woke up in the middle of it, I had like a window of maybe like half an hour, like to probably like have a drink, go to the restroom and then lay back down and try to go back to sleep. If I think about it, and I could daydream it, go back to it in a sense, right? 80% of the time. But like I know I had this window of how long I was awake. For me, how long I was awake and how long if I can get back to it. Like if I was awake too long, it's harder to get back to it. Versus like if I was only been awake for a little while, then I can go right back to it. If I've been awake for like 10 minutes, I can go right back to where I was.
Okay, yeah, that sounds essentially similar to how wild works, a technique I learned or heard of years ago. Waking induced lucid dreaming, where you wake up in the middle of your sleep cycle at night and walk around for like, I don't know, 30 minutes or an hour or so, and then go back to sleep because your brain still has melatonin going on in it and sleep chemicals, naturally, DMT. So it's like you become lucid, literally awake in the middle of the night, so that then you can kind of focus on what you're doing, focus on doing something, and then go back to sleep, induce a type of lucid dreaming.
Well, that's the thing. Like I'm starting to realize more lately that I'm not as different as I tell myself from other people because I like tell myself I'm different, I guess, or I probably like tell myself I need to fit in. But I've been watching other videos like where people that like do chi, chi, like that same tradition of chi, and like they talk about certain things like psychic protection and psychic shield. And I saw them talking about like this cone light shield that you can put over yourself, and I'm like, other people do that too. Like I thought that was in my imagination. So like sometimes I feel like these things I do are in my imagination. Then I hear other people saying like they're doing the same thing too. They meditate. So I'm like, holy crap! Like they're doing what I'm doing. Like it's similar. Like I never knew that. Like so that's kind of what I'm learning. Because I'm being more open about it and putting myself out there talking about it, which hasn't always been easy for me to talk about this kind of stuff. But I'm glad I am now because I'm starting to learn like it's always just been in my head when I'm like, you don't fit in, you're different even here. And I'm really, it's just kind of nice to have that community in a sense for me, because
Mm-hmm.
it's just nice sometimes, like you're not alone in it. Like other people experience this stuff too. So like, yeah, it's actually nice. But that's something I can be grateful for in life.
Yeah, that light shield is pretty easy. But someone might have to practice it to really get good at it. But yeah, casting a shield of light around you, especially I've learned based on something from another psychic friend, to not only cast a shield of light around you in your aura,
Mm-hmm.
but practice making walls, thick, thick,
Yeah, it can be a
layered
whole house. It can be a whole house.
walls of
And then
light.
you
Yeah,
crystallize it. Then you
yeah,
crystallize.
around your whole aura. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
a huge either box or sphere around your whole home.
Yeah.
That will
And then
keep all the darkies out, the troublemakers, and
I crystallize
uh,
it. And I also like visualize crystallizing around my brain too. So like those
yeah,
thoughts,
yeah.
you know?
Then when you do that with high frequency colored light and layers of this structured light, crystallized it, then only angels, fairies, and positive ancestors and positive spirit guides will be able to get near you. Yeah, that's an effective technique. Someone else on my TikTok commented asking to learn more about it was spiritual protection, maybe also grounding, but yeah, that's an effective technique to just
I
practice.
never knew people were doing this stuff too. I honestly thought a lot of this was in my own like imagination, how I'm speaking it. But I was wrong. I'm dead wrong. Not the first
Yeah.
time, won't be the last time. But yeah. And
So
it's kind of cool.
we can this is pretty actually easy when you start to practice it. This is an ability that every single human does or can do because we have a soul and we're made of light. But Amanda, have you found that you also cast or project light in your dreams, and have you noticed that effect on dream characters or how it affects them?
In my dreams or in my practices. Like in my dreams, no, I can't say that I've actually like done that. You know what I mean? There are things in my practices where I like when I go into like a deeper meditation that I do some kind of energy work, you know, in a sense. But like as far as my dreams, no, I don't really think that I put a lot of time and thought into my dreams as much as like, in hindsight, I kind of wish I would have explored them differently. I could have learned a lot more, but I mean, at the same time, I'm learning a lot more now too. So, but yeah, not in my dreams. I wouldn't, not that I can think of. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, one interesting experience I've had multiple times in dreams in the past is especially when I was learning Reiki at first and learning to master that and apply Reiki, is there'd be times I'd be interacting with people in my dreams, but then I would find myself just projecting Reiki energy out of my hands at them. I think I
Mm-hmm.
had agreed to give them a healing or something. But then they freeze, just like a robot or a stone, because they're just an unintelligent NPC. And
Like
so,
sleeping in the light.
yeah, and so that's
Do they do something like this? Like they hit
pretty
the voice.
much, yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah,
Yeah.
something
They're
similar to
not,
that.
they're not exact. That's something I experienced differently in my deep meditation.
Yeah. And so I think that's an effect that happens because a lot of dream characters are not actually spirits or consciousness. They're just like a, a data projection or reflection of your subconscious in the dream. And so they kind of just like sometimes behave and say things and act that are literally a reflection or something that your subconscious is telling you, but they're not actually light. They're not living divine light. So when we project
They're not
that
consciousness.
into them, then it just sort of illuminates everything that they are, and they freeze. They don't actually have light to reciprocate.
That's a little bit different, I think, from what I'm thinking. Like, because I do a deep meditation where I'll picture like an ocean, and like people I know will kind of be in that ocean freeze up too. But I do like the whole Pono thing where I'm just like,
Hmm.
please forgive me. I'm sorry. I love you and thank you. You know what I mean? I kind of do that kind of stuff in
Hmm.
that sense where I'm just trying to, I guess, just make peace and release, and you know what I mean, and let go of the chains, I guess you could say. So that's how I understand it. But as far as like the dreams or like that, I can't really say that I've interacted with too many people in those dreams. I mean, the most I've interacted with people is like passing by the grocery stuff or like, at the cafeteria sometimes at the lunch lady, they're going to give me food because they don't, or like I get it and I'm not even there anymore. And, or like, other places, you know, uh, the small, like it does seem like NPCs off a video game, like how they have a few set lines, you know, and it's
Hmm.
limited. So, but I don't know. But the thing is, I can believe it because, I don't know that like really possible or healthy for one person in this experience to have all these knowledge and abilities. Like it's a lot of stuff to know, remember, complex, and quantum physics is a nightmare. Let's be honest. So, like, I feel like it's good that a lot of people are kind of like waking up and they're all in these different dynamics, like refuge, spiritual, all these different spiritual paths, because I feel like that is efficient when it comes to like the future generations, because we leave this world to the kids. So there's going to be plenty of people that can offer these teachings and different things to different kids who are seeking it or interested in it or comes to it. And I think it's just still a need, right? And cover the bases. So that's how I see it. I feel like, that's why it's good that we work together and have compassion and empathy and realize that we all go through life on a level, everybody goes through something, is going through it. So you have to understand, be compassionate, and at the same time, like, don't let these invisible lines that we draw in the sand get in the way. Everybody doesn't have to agree. Sometimes a different perspective is the puzzle pieces that brings it all together. So I feel like an open mind is good, at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's one other quote I wanted to share. I think it was Buddha, but Buddhism says to meditate for 20 minutes a day, or if you can't stop thinking, if you find it difficult, then meditate for an hour. And that's so important for everyone these days with living in such a busy, demanding corporate and capitalistic world. But also, if you know yourself as a divine masculine type, I know that I've been there, and I still have to do this. Everyone does, but keep a practice of daily meditation, and that helps you return to the frequency of your soul when you reach that clarity, that transcendent state in meditation.
Is there
Instead
different
of,
types of meditation? I'm sorry. Is there different
um,
types of meditation?
yeah, I practice transcendental meditation, but there are other types of meditation that transcendental meditation is just a technique. It's an effective one. It's a mantra meditation. But yeah, it's there are many ways to access the divine tranquil state of the soul. So it's by returning to that every day that then you will have an easier time living aligned with your soul, with peace and truth, instead of living on the rippled surface of the mind that gets so easily distracted by the outside world and the unaligned capitalistic society that so many people live in. So that's what I
I'm
wanted to put
curious
forward.
what people do in meditation because I go on adventures. Do people go on adventures?
I'm sorry, what was that? Could you repeat that?
Like I'm curious, like what people do in meditation because I don't know. I go on adventures. Like I have like this meditate. I feel like I have a meditation that like when I'm cleaning house or doing dishes, I put my headphones on to my feel good jam music. I feel like I'm in a meditative state in the air in that in like a lighter sense. But I also have like different levels, and I but when I get into like a deep meditation, I will do like half hour to an hour. But like I go on adventures. I don't know what everybody else is doing, but I go like on adventures, like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's like I don't know how to explain it, but like I travel. I feel like
yeah,
I'm traveling. Like I don't know if everybody else is traveling. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm traveling.
yeah. I totally understand that. I do that too. But like TM has specific teachings that it's ideal not to, or I was told it's ideal not to necessarily um, like go on shamanic journeys or travel far when you're in TM. Just let it be a calm and peaceful experience. But yeah, I do that too. Even in TM, though, I've always found that my my soul and spirit wants to like go places or have an experience. Lately, though, um, after the after the angels taught me the God's full embodiment course, my meditation has been different. It really is more like a huge, magnificent, expansive quality to it. Yeah, and then there's always a feeling that when I start doing the meditation or get into the meditation deeper, I'm aware of just being surrounded by angels, love, and consciousness, abundance, prosperity.
Mhm.
And so the lesson for me has been to practice meditation more often daily so that I can then ease my mind, that the mind is the part that perceives separation and lack. Whereas really the truth is, if we just bypass that, then it's like a complete just knowingness and allowing abundance and the outcomes that have been created and prepared in the 5D and reality and around us to just quickly snap into and enter our lives because they're waiting for us.
You know what's really fun? Like what's really cool is that if you're meditating and if you can get to this window of consciousness that's like between like daydreaming mind and REM sleep, like there's a little window in between that. If you can get there and sustain it for a minute, it really feels like time is slowing down. Earth is going
Yeah.
to a halt. Different sounds are like more pronounced and guttural, like in slow motion. And it's like I'm somewhere between reality breaking down, but I'm still on my living room floor laying down and deep because I lay down for deep meditation, trance meditation because it helps I'm a surfer, so like you have to put on your breather. So it helps when I'm laying down for me and having water next to me because I get dehydrated. But yeah, so like that's hard to sustain for me though, to be honest. I've had trouble with it because of the sound. Like sometimes snoring can sound like people choking, and I'm like, I need jerk out of it. So that's been kind of hard to sustain. But I heard after that, like you actually see reality break down. So that should, if I get there, that should be interesting. You know, I'm not really
Yeah.
sure.
And so this has been an application for me, sort of a factor in my, I guess you could call it, mall world experience and journey with the city intersection I described. Hopefully we can get a drawing of what that looks like from you, Amanda, or I could even try to
Yeah,
sketch part of it and we can refine a drawing. But
I'm doing my
but
best.
so I visited it twice, this intersection where I basically am driving in a car or my car, and I end up driving it. It feels like kind of fast, and I just don't stop, even though there's intersection. I think there's a red light, but I just speed through it.
Yeah.
But then, this twice in this dream, like this doesn't happen in our physical logical world, but there was just this big section of these wide, basically freeway sized roads or this intersection in the city, but that was then being closed
And
and basically retrofitted into
airplane.
a temporary airport runway. Um, but then in the intersection dreams, my car just speeds through that, even though legally I'm not supposed to, and basically across this airport runway, either once or twice in this intersection, my car just narrowly misses being crushed by this big airplane coming down under the new runway. And then I think goes over or through these barricades. And in the second one, I remember, I I think either I had hit a motorcyclist and killed them, or I'd become that. And at the dream, it like ended with a third person view of me viewing myself basically dead as a an anime motorbike character laying on the ground and cops and ambulances gathering around me. So my
The shit
now
can be chaotic.
yeah, my analysis of that intersection, what that would mean, according to my understandings of dream symbolism, is just that quality that I think comes from the divine masculine wanting to create and create and create and just constantly be working, and even late at night constantly be wanting to do another project to get a little more work done, thinking that it's not enough that I haven't done enough already. It's that kind of pushing, just constantly wanting to go without stopping, that I believe that there's intersection dreams in this. It was exactly the same, but very tangible intersection in this city world. To me, that's what that would represent. And after I started meditating every day more consistently and slowing down, intentionally taking moments to pause, that is when those intersection dreams stopped and my dreams changed. So that's my analysis of what.
Well, it makes sense because there are chaotic streets. Like people are trying to get away from something. You know what I mean? Like if there's a natural disaster or whatever, people are scrambling, and there are barricades. And there are times like if you're in the street that you do have barricades and you see people scrambling to get out, and it's chaotic. That is, and there's a lot of streets to be honest. Like I've gone through so many that I can't say that I honestly remember them all, but I only remember so like the ones I've visited a lot. But it's a big place, and I think with Mallworld and any psychic ability or whatever things you're exploring, I will say that like you don't want to try to like overanalyze it or align it with physical experiences to make it fit in certain areas because you will go mad. You will go mad. I'm telling you, like it's better to like not try to overanalyze it or make it fit. Sometimes you just have to sit back and then I have one piece of the puzzle and then eventually another piece might come in. You know what I mean? But like if you try to overanalyze or push it You can drive yourself crazy, believe me.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to like be careful of that in my experience because you can't always overanalyze this stuff. You can't always, it's like a lot of times people are like, oh, if you're psychic, you should have all the answers. But there are things that cannot be explained and have to be experienced because there are just things that you can experience when you go within, whether it's in, the spiritual process of expanding consciousness or psychic abilities and all, or whatever the dimension you're going within yourself. Some of these things are hard to find the words to articulate and explain. Like, it doesn't really compare the experience of yourself. So, in my opinion, like, you can look for these psychic and things like that, but there are certain, if you're looking for these, like, secret, divine truth knowledge, some of it has to be experienced to be understood in a way. You know what I mean? Sometimes you grow in this way and you understand proverbs that you didn't understand before. Like, oh, that makes more sense now, right? So, I think it is complex and like you have to give yourself some grace too in these things. But it does sound very chaotic, like the Mallworld scene. Like the roads are usually barricaded, blocked off. They don't make sense. And accidents happen. I've had accidents too. I'm not a motorcycle person, but I've hit people. I'm not a good driver in real life either. But I do think like the subconscious, like I think, okay, I'm serious. Like I'm a horrible driver. I don't hit anything that's new. It's just when things sit still, like walls, park trains, things of that nature. There's always some stuff out in front of me. But anyway, like, not everybody can do. But yeah, it's like, I do think like it's a combination of like what this shared mall world experience dream is, but also I do think our subconscious bleeds through it. Because I've heard other people talk about, well, sometimes I end up in my old family house, my old grandma's house. Like, and sometimes I end up in my own childhood home, and then to go back to Mallworld. So I do think like our life experiences, whatever it is, I guess the subconscious does bleed through, and I think it blends in a sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for that analysis, that insight, Amanda.
Oh, I don't know if it's right, though. This stuff is weird. Like, I'm not the expert in dreams, but yeah, I didn't even know like it was. I didn't even know it was extensive to be like dream work. That's pretty fascinating.
Well, thank you for coming on and talking with us about Mallworld, Amanda. This has been another lovely and insightful
Yeah.
clarification and
I
conversation.
can't wait for the final one because I'm going to put out the whole new drawings, right? The new extension, I guess, of it.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely more of Mallworld and more of this astral and other related topics that we'll be talking about